MrOliverMonkman, whose father rescued Dr. Schultz during the 1869 rebellion. Mr. Monkman, now. Yeah, how old will you be?
I was 84 and the 24 minutes passed.
And when you were a boy, your father told you about that?
Yeah. Well, probably I was pretty young when he told me about kicking the man.
Oh, I guess so. There's 20 years difference in the time that you were born and when you took him.
Yeah.
It was 1870, you see.
Yeah, it was all that.
And you can tell me again about that because it wasn't getting on here. I didn't have that button. I forgot.
Yeah.
Tell me about your father. It was your grandfather.
Yeah, my grandfather took Schultz to Dakota from here.
Oh yeah, but your father went and got him.
Yeah, my father went up and got him took him out of his place and brought him down to his father's down on the
reserve there. What's the lot number, do you know?
I don't know the lot numbers on that side. One on this side would be
81, was it?
Lot 16, I guess, on this side of the road. He was on the east side. I don't know what number the lot was.
Oh yeah, your father's father was on the east side.
Yes.
And then he picked him up from your sleigh and took him.
He picked him up at Schultz's place in Winnipeg or whatever Schultz's place was up there. Winnipeg or Kelowna.
Yeah.
So he said there was watching him, and there was expecting the going to take Schultz out, and there was on the road watching for him that night, and the old man, my dad, come along and he's waiting for him, and he drove right in front of the door, and Schultz had jumped in the cutter, and he never stopped. And I was watching for somebody to go up there to take Schultz out, and the old man go past. And the old Schultz jumped in the cutter as he passed his door, and he never stopped. And he got away with him. And he got him right down to his father's and on the east side of the road. And he stayed there one night, and then struck across to South Dakota or someplace with him from there. He went across country anyway with him. And then he left them there, and he come back from there.
Quite a trip in it with a horse,
yeah.
Eh?
And I couldn't tell you if it was horses or a dog team that he took him away with.
But you know, he got him.
But he had to cross the country with him anyway.
But your father had a horse to bring him down there.
Yes, he had a driver, horse and cutter.
Was that an ordinary cutter or a jumper, like they used to call them?
Well, I guess it was jumpers, as they call them cutters, but I guess it was the jumpers that time.
Yeah.
But he told me that he drove right down, and he had to pass right along the door, he said. It's Schultz's, and they had the lights out. And there was a hard one coming, and Schultz just stepped out the door, and he was passing, and he just jumped in the cutter, so he was driving past him.
Was it after him? They were after him pretty hard, weren't they?
Yeah, so it went, and he said he could see these fellas on each side of the road, but they didn't see the old man stop, and was watching for somebody to stop at the door to pick him up, but he didn't stop. Schultz jumped in the cutters he passed.
On the run, like that.
Run, and then that's where he took him through.
Oh.
And he got him down through the night when he got him to his father's. And then the old man took him from there, then head across country. And I think it's Duluth, not sure. Around Duluth or someplace where
you let him off?
Where my grandfather took him, and that's where he turned back.
That would be with dog sleighs then, because that's a long
trip. With dog teams at that time.
Yeah, that's the way down in Minnesota.
Yeah. So the old man then
followed the river, eh?
I don't know how they went, but then the old man left him. And he got as far as Kenora coming back. So he started to hit the Red River then, and he blazed his trail and come through, and he struck the river at Parkdale.
Is that so? From Kenora?
Yeah.
Overland, like?
Yeah, he blazed his trail through coming, and that's where he had struck the Red River.
Pretty lucky, he knew just about where he's going, eh?
What? But he took the whole fellow anyway, they had no stop race or anything, and they just had to cross country with Schultz. They had to stay out to get along the bit with the equipment till he got him out there.
As long as he got him away, that was all right.
Yeah. So that's where he turned back from.
Did Schultz talk to your father when he got here about About anything about Riel and all his gang that was after him?
Yeah. Well, my uncle, young Albert Monkman, that is my father's brother, he was with the Riel.
Was he? Oh, he was with them.
Yeah.
He was working with them, like.
He was working with them, as far as I could find out.
So one brother was working with them, and the other fellow was
helped to get Schultz away.
kind of working against each other. Oh.
But that's what I heard, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, well, he had a lot of mixed people with him, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was my grandfather what took Schultz away.
Mm-hmm.
From down St. Peter's there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my father got him over, took Schultz from his house and brought him down to his father's place.
And did he have him in a sleigh with hay on or anything like that? Just in the cutter, was it?
Just in the cutter, right. He told me it'd be a jumper out.
But he would probably have straw hay or something and put him under.
He said he just kind of slowed down as he's coming up and Schultz was ready for him and he just jumped in.
He knew he was coming. Did he have a message before that?
He must have had a message or something. What time to be ready for him anyway.
Oh. So to jump.
And he said he could see these fellas on the road where they was watching from come out of there, but they didn't hold him up. And I was waiting for someone to see to drive in there to stop.
Probably right on Main Street in Winnipeg. He was living in the store.
Wherever it was, I couldn't tell where he picked him up. He said it was Schultz's place, wherever that was.
Yeah, it was a store he had on Main Street there.
Yeah.
Not far from the old city hall, you know. It's all gone now, but
But he said he drove right up on he said the road right along the front wheel door. So he just drove along and
yeah, that'd be Main Street.
And the old fellow was ready to there and there were no lights or nothing, and he just come and he hopped in and kept on going. He said he just slowed up and then
Must have had a good horse, eh?
He's supposed to have a good horse, and he said some of the fellows that was watching for him, he knew my father's horse, but he didn't think it was him who was taking out Schultz, and he said, I guess it would have stopped him.
Oh, he didn't know it was him.
No, they didn't think it was him.
What do you think they'd do to him if they caught a hold of him? Like, what do you think they'd have done to your father if they caught a hold of him?
I guess they took him too, I guess.
Took him with them, eh? Oh, but I guess...
but he got away with him that way, eh?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something to remember, eh? You were just a young kid when they told you that.
Yes.
And your grandfather, you knew your grandfather too?
Yes, well, my grandfather died in 1894.
Oh.
I seen one of his cars, his death cards. My sister had it, and after she passed out, I was going to get that card, and I was looking down at the little plate there, but I could never find it.
Oh.
It was my grandfather's death.
1894.
He died in...
Do you know where the Monkmans came from in the first place? Like
well, as far as I could go back, my grandfather and another Monkman was on the ships, and they deserted the ships when they come from the old country. And they wasn't supposed to be Monkmans, but they took Monkman's names, I was told.
Oh.
And that's where the Monkman started from.
Oh, must have been a Monkman, probably the captain or something, took his name.
And they deserted off the ship. Two of them deserted off the ship, and they both took the same names.
Yeah?
And they go to...
So all the Monkmans around here pretty well related then, I think.
Well, I guess we're all related and started
with the man that took it somebody else.
I don't know half of
Somebody took somebody else's name.
And there's some of them went west, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I know in 1925, there was a Monkman died in Edmonton, and I don't know what Monkman he was. He was around 85 or 86 when he died in Edmonton.
Uh-huh.
And they called him William Monkman.
How'd you hear about him?
Well, I was in Fort McMurray, and there's a fellow come out, and he says, "Are you want to listen to William Monkman?" I said, "No, I got a cousin, William Monkman, on Lake Winnipeg in Manitoba." You know, he says, there's an old man, he was buried in Edmonton, he says it the other day, before I come out. And he's an old monk, and he says, he's between his 80s and 90s.
What were you doing up in Fort McMurray?
Well, I was watching Lee and the fish company, put in 8 years up through there.
Oh, 8 years. Did you get there by walking, or did you ride, or what?
Well, on the boat,
Up the Saskatchewan River.
yes, down as far as Fort Chipewyan.
What was the name of the boat?
Well, it was the Athabasca
Athabasca.
on the south end, and then there was a distributor who was running from Fort Smith down to the Layoka. We down across the creek.
How did you get there from here, though? Did
We
you go
took the train right through the waterways.
Oh, waterways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. You didn't go by Lake Winnipeg and up the river
No.
in the boat?
No wonder.
You ever been to Grand Rapids and up that way?
Well, it took the winter fighting fish out.
Oh. Can you tell me, just while we're talking about fish, tell me about that freighting business. You know John McNabb?
Yes,
Were you with him?
I was with John and old John Vance.
Sandy Vance. There were two fish companies. They used to take contracts, eh?
Yeah, they had the contract for fish, and first they used to haul those sleighs, stop in the stopping places, and then they built cabooses and snowplow.
Uh-huh.
And then they used to stay right on the ice.
I had a team on his snowplow for 3 winters.
Yeah.
The big black Persians. They used to pull the snowplow for John McNabb.
I put in,
Went right to the end.
I put in about 8 winters with Sandy Vance, and when Sandy Vance first started his snowplow.
Uh-huh. You go right to Warren's Landing?
Yeah.
How far is that? That's 220 miles or something.
That's my one like that, 220. Would be about what we eat.
Tell me about, on the way out, you put your feet on the ice, eh?
Yeah, you drop your feet to so much at one place, and then
Boats and bales.
build it is, and you scattered your load going out, and then you get to the same place as coming back.
A day's trip, like.
Mm-hmm.
And what about this,
Well, if you're going out to Burn River and them places, you have to you'd leave so many bales here, and then wherever you stay in the night, you'd leave some, and going out, and then you would pick up coming back.
when you had trouble going over cracks and you got delayed, you keep going, you got to your feet place, would you?
Yeah, you had to,
Late or not?
you had to get across the cracks the best way you could.
The boards, did you carry boards with them?
Well, the second or third winter, they had kind of bridges, you know, maybe so wide with heavy timber. Just was maybe about 8 feet. It wasn't wide enough for a team to go on. When they drop out across the crack, if there's, say, a crack 6 or 8 feet wide, so they could drop it right across and then go right over it.
Wet it down first. Snow it up, put snow on it.
And drive the team right over that.
Yeah. And what kind of sleighs were those? They were heavy?
There's a half-round shoeing, 3-inch runners.
Half-round shoeing, cast iron, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you still had to carry little sticks to put them on at night?
Oh, yes, it had a...
Or they'd freeze?
Well, in the night you wouldn't know. You'd have to snatch the teams in the morning. I have a snatch team to loosen.
Yeah, snatch team is one you put on the front.
Yeah.
And then you got 4 horses on the load, like.
And you'd loosen it.
Swing it sideways and loosen it off.
Loosen them up, and then one team would go along and start to bunch it up.
One time I had a young kid working for me, and he wanted to go with John McNabb, so I gave him a pair of good rubber boots, you know. And he was sorry I ever did that, because he had to do all the walking in the water after. The other fellow didn't have the right kind of boots.
Yeah, the dry pair. So
yeah, he had his dry pair, so he had to do all the dirty work, like.
Well, sometimes we just drive across the cracks of if it was just a fresh crack.
Yeah.
Water
went to.
You'd run over about 7, 8 loads. You'd get too deep in, you'd have to go and plow another.
Yeah, it'd go down where the edge was. And
yeah, water another road across and get some more.
Take a chance. So how much was on the load?
Well, all the size, 175, the 8 bucks for 13.
175 bucks? That'd be 10 tons, 17 tons of fish, would it?
Yeah.
There's 100 pounds in every box, wouldn't it?
Well, there's all 100-pound boxes then.
Yeah. But you used to, the plow cut it right down to the ice and
Yeah, the plow
it was easy going.
Yeah, just clear ice always.
But you had sharp shoes on them, eh?
Oh, yeah, that was sharp as all.
It cost me $16 to shoe my horses every time I went out there.
Yeah.
And then the spring you had to take them off and do it over again because the hoofs were grown out, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you had to keep the horses sharp.
Yeah.
That is clear ice all.
Yeah, clear ice. Windy and cold out there too, eh?
Yeah, it was sandy the first winter that. The first winter the plows come out, we had no caboose.
No caboose.
No.
Stay outside all the time.
We had to get in the lee of the bank or wherever you could.
Yeah? No tents or nothing?
No.
You had to be tough.
We carried sails off on sailboats with horses. Pull the two horses together, team together and pull the sail over them.
That's all.
That was
their house for the night.
For the night.
That was the days when life was pretty tough.
Yeah, and then you'd pull out maybe daylight in the morning and travel for what, half an hour or an hour to get your horses warmed up, and then you'd stop and feed them.
Oh, you'd warm them up first and then
You'd warm them up first and then you'd stop and feed them. And you'd rest them for a while and then you'd start looking for feed.
And that fish, you brought it right in. Sometimes you couldn't make it to Riverton, eh? You had to go across the...
Well, at the end of the first started all to Gimli, and then when the Riverton opened up, then the started going into Riverton. But the first come into Gimli.
Oh, yeah. All the way.
Oh,
not much pay in it, is there?
Yeah, it was all on the
pretty low pay. Just enough to live on.
On the racks you had then, there was, I don't know, about 30 feet, I think, 30-foot racks.
30 feet long, the racks.
And the flat rack with timber, about like 4 feet. You had to have one long to get the loads on them.
Yeah, and the back runners were kind of hooked together with chains, eh?
Well, they had cross chains.
Yeah. So you could swing them, and no reach wouldn't be long enough.
No, yeah. Reach wouldn't be. They had long cross chains on them.
Well, that's quite an experience that nobody does that anymore, eh?
Eh?
Now they go with tractors.
Yeah.
One caterpillar pulls about 20 sleighs, and once in a while they go through, too.
12 tractors now.
You know old Alex Sinclair? Key-waiting?
Old Key-waiting, yeah.
He went out there lots of times.
Yeah, he used to be on there.
And Archie. And Frank,
he's coming in one time right at the Narrows, that's north of Riverton. And the ice was pretty weak there, and his teams was all scattered out. And I never forget old Alec. He was coming along, and the back end of his load dropped through, and he was getting up, and the team and all went through at the end, but old Alec looked around over his load, and he seen his load going down, and he tried to get out, but he couldn't. The whole thing went down.
Yeah.
He had to jump to get on dry ice.
All the boxes went in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we dropped the ice. Had 5 teams sometimes in.
Yeah.
Teams, loads and all would go in.
Yeah. They wouldn't float either. You'd lose that fish, wouldn't you?
No. Well, you get the top boxes off, the rest of them would start coming up then. But
yeah.
The load would go right down to the top boxes.
Huh. And you never pull the team down with it, did it?
Well, teams all go down. You'd have to pull them out too.
Yeah. How do you get close to the hole after that? It's kind of weak.
Well, you'd have to get it away the best way you could there and get them loose.
Cold too while you're doing it.
Cut the top straps for the hammers and back pads and let everything fall off and then pull the team out.
Yeah. Put a chain around the neck.
Yeah, chain around the neck and pull them out.
Put the hook at the side like that.
Well, as long as it goes around the neck, as soon as they choke them, they'd come up and slide out.
I pull horses out of the mud in the slough like that.
Yeah.
Right out of the slippery mud with a chain, and boy, just standing there, you know, just covered in mud.
But they'll float up as soon as you get your chain on them.
Would they? Well, I thought there was ice in those boxes.
Leave the collars on them because top of the collar was striking the ice. You drive the collar would shake them.
I guess they'd be flashing around in there trying to get up.
Yeah. Lots of times we had the horses in.
And it was 40 below zero?
There was some nights
with the wind blowing.
Oh, 40. pretty cold nights on there.
Yeah, I bet you.
But after they got them cabooses, it was good. They only traveled in daylight, you know.
Yeah.
So you could stop at 4 o'clock. Between 3:30 and 4, it was a good place to camp with it. But their tents up and put the horses in, and it was as good as... And the tents were warm after you got the horses in.
Yeah, that was different. You switched from just living out in the open to nice cabooses after.
Yes, and the cabooses, the tents was on both sides of the caboose, and well, you lived in a caboose, and that was as warm as a house in there.
Yeah, and then there was a feed rack along the side, and you let the tent down on the horses.
Racks were right on the side of the caboose.
How long did it take you to get there? 2 weeks to the end of the run?
Just on where you had to go to.
Yeah.
You had to go right out to Warner's Landing, you'd be 26 days.
26 days, round trip.
Yeah.
2 trips in the winter or 3?
Well, you make 3, but it depends on the fish. Fish then would quit in the 15th of February.
So when you got out there and there was more fish than you could load on, what did you do then?
Well, I'd have to load all the good.
There was no phones or anything, you couldn't tell you.
And take tullabies and things that leave them. Because them wasn't worth hauling in.
What years was that about?
So the first year I went out in 1908, I guess.
1908?
Yeah.
That's so.
This winter I went out in the lake.
1908?
So I was on the lake in 1908, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, it was when you were kind of young and tough then.
So I got hurt in 13 as a 13 and 14. I got trapped with a welding machine and just out of the window before the war broke out.
1913.
I was taking a welding machine to Winnipeg and I tipped over and I got caught under it.
Did you? Didn't kill you though?
Didn't give me an awful damn squeezing.
An awful squeeze, but didn't kill you.
But I fell in a little ditch that took me.
Yeah, you fell in the ditch and the thing was stretched over you.
Well, it took all the weight off my wrist, right on the back of my neck.
To your back, middle of your back.
Turned down my arse and loosened one rib and my backbone.
Yeah? That is a narrow escape, eh?
Yeah.
Did the team run away? No.
No, the team I was trying to save, the drills, the old drills were hanging over the horses.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going west on the road and there was storming and there was hardly any snow and I was kind of on the side picking out the snow. And I was trying to save the scenery, it was just waving and I was didn't want the drills to catch the horses and I got caught with it.
Were you drilling wells up in Winnipeg then?
No, I was just moving out the top.
Moving out up there to drill wells?
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be Charlie Howell's outfit, would it?
Yeah, Charlie.
Was it?
That was his outfit I was taking up.
Bang all day long with a little engine.
Yeah.
Chugging away.
And there was that.
You know, I had a well drilled this winter and the fella pulled in the yard, set up his rig and he pulled it down and he was 1 hour and 5 minutes. Drilled me a well down through 20 feet of rock down there and I got hit a spring. We went to cap it off. We were working in water 2 feet deep. I had to get pumps to get it out of there so to cap it off. And it was an hour and 5 minutes drilling the well.
You're lucky.
Boy, 67 feet deep too. Yeah. That's the difference in well drilling now.
But now they don't have to haul around. They got their own outfit.
Yeah, it's got everything. Yeah. Now, do you know anything about your father? Or you ever had anything to do with Indian powwows down along the creek when they paid them treaty?
Not that I know of.
Did you ever see them at the
have
treaty?
them treaty grounds, you know. We used to go to the treaty grounds.
Yeah. And have a high time, like a kind of a 2 or 3 days.
Or sometimes for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Tents up?
Have the tents up and build dance halls there for them. And I know for 2 years my stepmother used to have a restaurant, start a restaurant. They had the tents in the restaurant and she just run the restaurant there with the treaty ground.
They give the Indians a $5 a head treaty and by the time they got out of there they had nothing left, eh?
No, they didn't have anything left, is right.
They spend it on eats and one thing.
We used to have some big times there that All the last day for, well, lots of time for 2 weeks.
Was that?
Then the last was started, well, I guess the last time I was down there, it only lasted about 3-4 days. That was just before the move to Hudson. They didn't have much of a treaty the last time they left down there.
That would be before about 1908 they moved them, didn't they?
Yeah, well, around that, 1907 or 1908 when they moved to Hudson, I think.
You wouldn't know anything about who signed that march on this reserve back to the government, eh? Who were the men that put their name on that?
No,
when they surrendered they surrendered that and went out to Hudson, but they had a sign. Because there's a lot of those old people here that stayed here, they didn't want to go away.
No, there's lots of them didn't go, but the one time, I think that was the year, it was 7 or 8 when they all moved out to Hudson. The ones wanted to go, and some of them then went to go to Broken Head, Canterbury.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that didn't want to go to Hudson, they moved out there. So I think that was about the time the reserve broke up down there.
Yeah, I've got a copy of the treaty they made in 1871 in the fort here,
Yes.
And it says on there they give them that place till the sun stopped shining, and then they moved them off.
I think that was about the time they all moved out to Hudson.
Yeah. And did you ever go fishing sturgeon in the lake, in the river here?
No, I never did any fishing.
Never did any fishing yourself?
No.
Quite a few people did do it.
And I never fished on Lake Winnipeg because it's only in the winter I'll be able to.
Yeah.
Teams is the only time I'll be able to.
Yeah. Well, that old marsh that's down there now, everybody used to make hay on there long ago.
Yes.
You remember those Benson brothers that
Benson brothers and
that claims there?
they had the whole thing leased to the one time for, I don't know, for 2 years or 3 years. Cubby Jonathan and Benson and old Charlie Bird took and leased the whole march from the government, and then they had the hay put up on 2 thirds. They got one ton and you got 2. And the hay was way up in the place. They made a killing on it.
And they made a killing out of it, eh? They were kind of speculators on hay.
Yes.
Getting somebody else to do the work.
They got 1 ton or every 2 ton was put up in the march.
And they let them, and then after that they made pyramids here and there, and they used to sell them.
You could go and buy a permit.
Down to Arthur Cochran's here, Alec Cochran's.
Yes, old Arthur and Alec. That was them when they had the trap and then fellas made a killing. The ones that needed, they had to go to them. They had the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whole thing done, and that's the only way you could get from it.
Yeah.
They got on trees and they
kind of had it cornered.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. That was just on the. That wasn't on the South Marsh. That was on the North Marsh.
They took the whole thing.
Oh, South Marsh too.
South and east side and the west side.
Oh, east side over by Cumby Ornison's there.
Yeah,
Devil's Creek in there.
They had the whole marsh on the both on the east and west side. They had to go to them to get here. They couldn't go to the government. They leased everything from the government.
Yeah.
And they took it out on shores as well.
What'd they do with the hay that they got, like Benson? He sold it, shipped it away, I suppose.
Well, they had the leases up, and I don't know if the government wouldn't give them a lease or not after that, but then they put all out in permits. But they made a killing on that when they had it. And the hay was up in a good price then, too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that... those days are gone. I used to make a lot of hay out in the marsh there, too. I had 160 acres there and one place of my own.
Yeah.
80 acres, too. One time I put that whole 160 acres up myself twice in one summer with a stacker and a sweep, and I rigged it up on the front of a little tractor, and I'd pull the stacker up with the tractor and go and get another load, and 3 or 4 loads, and let it fall down, and comb it off a bit and climb up again, and stacked all that hay myself.
You could take a lot of hay with that stacker.
Yeah. My wife's father made those old Ford stackers, you know. He made them. And I had one of them. And it was about 65 feet of rope in those. You pull it up and hoist it. You know, those old hay stackers, they used to be
on. It was one of them old bull sweeps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you go up a slide and tip it down. And then when it was coming down, it jammed there and wouldn't slide down again.
Right, you couldn't pull the jam stuff.
No.
Well, it wasn't too bad to stack it, but we lay there and we'd go to dig it out in the winter.
Yeah.
If you didn't start from the way you could.
Where you put it in, you'd have
you had an awful time.
Never get it out. Well, I've been
through that. First one I worked with a bull sweep. I was only a kid then, I guess I was probably 16, I think. And the old dad had Alex working at the hay. And he said to the old man, he says, you have to make a bull sweep. And I didn't know what bull sweep was then. So we were making it down the marsh, which was near the first river. And you couldn't cross the Nettle Creek, there were no ferry there then. And so he sent my old man up with a boat to get some poles and some timber to make his bull sweep boat us. So he got them all down the river and he brought them down and blasted them down to where it was working there and we pulled them up. And we made a bull sweep of the freshest. The others worked pretty good too.
A slide kind of slids up and the horse team on each end or one horse on each end?
Yeah, we only had one team of horses then down there and we had one horse on each side. And we could haul quite a lot in a day.
But it really got jam rolled in though.
Yeah.
You'd almost have to cut it to get it out.
But taking it up that winter, it was sure tough taking it up.
Yeah. You ever get Yeah, I made wide bunks about 12 feet wide and then it wouldn't tip over, see.
It was good when you went to wide bunks.
Yeah.
You didn't tip the easiest up on the...
No, and then I put a little runner like that under the side rail, like, so when it went down, couldn't tip, slipped on the snow.
So it would stop you from tipping.
Yeah. All those were the days making hay. Did you ever drive to Winnipeg with a team of horses with a load of hay?
Yeah, I hauled hay in Winnipeg, yeah.
All the way from here?
All the way from around St. Petersburg to Winnipeg.
To Winnipeg, and get how much a ton?
Get about $5 a load and you got it.
And then till you're bored.
You're bored your way back.
Do you ever remember a place on Main Street called the Ram Pasture? There used to be a restaurant and you ate in it?
That's near the old market.
Yeah, near the market there.
It's right on the... I think of another place. That's the market and this was right... Well, it was right near next to the market.
Called the Ram Pasture.
Yeah.
It had a big sign in there that said, don't forget to pay before you go out.
I think I know that place where we pulled there. I think we used to go and eat there sometimes.
Yeah, went and eat there. That was Frank Philpott was telling me when he ran all the way from the fort with it to get paid for his lime. And they get 25 cents for the lime that they sold. He walked to Winnipeg from Fort Garry and he'd eat his dinner in the Ram Pasture.
I think you remember that place already.
And Miss Wood, tell me about this deal you used to have in Selkirk, an open market for loads of wood. You'd bring them in and then they'd keep you waiting there until 5 or 6 o'clock at night before anybody come by, and then if you'd be so desperate you'd
put you down to, wouldn't give you what you wanted. Why shouldn't that market lots of days all day?
Yeah. How much, and then you sold it to the last to get it off, to get home.
Yeah, they sold it for whether we could get work or dump it off. That was on the market there.
That was on Main Street here in Selkirk.
Yeah.
Bringing a load of wood and...
The first market was right where the old post office is now. Where south of that was where the first hay market was when I come into town. Started all in town. Right where that garage is in south of the post office.
Yeah.
That's where the market was when I first started all hay and wood in.
And you bring a load of wood and sit there all day.
You go in the bush there in the morning, it was our day. Cut a cord and a half, quartered, and bring it in and you get it $1.25 a cord for it.
Yeah? $1.25 delivered.
Yeah.
Half of it split too.
And if you had a chopper, well, you paid him 60 cents a cord for it, and you hauled it in.
Did you use just an axe or a saw?
Axe.
No saw in those days.
No saws then, it's all right.
One, there was big trees around though, wasn't there?
Well, some of the trees was good size. Get about 4 trees down, you'd have your cord.
Yeah, cut them with an axe.
Yeah.
They were poplars, straight, tall poplars.
Oh, there's a good poplar, one thing.
Whereabouts was it?
They were on the, well, putting it all on the east side of the river was all that.
All that kind of trees.
Yeah.
Did you ever go down around Netley when old Robinson had his camp, wood camp there?
No, it's never down that way.
No.
All the wood I got is right from the east side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main reason is it was one to cut wood that they cut for 60 cents a cord.
Yeah.
With all in town.
I had some Indians cutting cordwood in my bush once, and they drank Florida water and lemon extract all day long. The bush was full of bottles. They get drunk on. Old Pete Robinson. Remember him?
Old Pete.
Old Pete Robinson.
Right, old Pete.
And old John Chisaw. And one of the Robinson boys, you know, the other John Robinson boys. He used to like to drink that stuff.
Poor that old John Robinson, he didn't get anything.
Would he? He wasn't fussy about what he drank, eh?
God, no, he'd take anything at all. Lemon extract, the hair tonic, anything.
And then get the alcohol in.
As long as there's a little good taste on the alcohol.
That would be a good business for the storekeeper.
Oh, yes.
Hope I'm not keeping everybody around here quiet.
Yeah.
They'll have to. Well, it's a few subjects we talked about anyway.
Yeah.
I'll see if that's all on here. I don't know.
Started with that I wrote and she come too.
Well, was she supposed to be dead in the coffin?
Yeah, but she was in her senses.
Yeah.
So the old man took her back home and she lived there about a month and then she did die. So the horse was starting off and he said to the driver, for God's sake, he said, don't drive too fast this time. She said, in case he wakes up again.
She died and then they were taking over Corduroy Road.
Corduroy Road, and he thought that she might wake up a second time, so he told him to drive slow.
Yeah, that reminded me, a wife was telling me about some old lady around here long ago. The old man, she wanted to go somewhere and get it over with, and the old man was dying. And she said, hurry up with your dying so that I can get going, you know. You couldn't wait for him any longer.
Couldn't wait till the day before she left.
Yeah. Some of these old timers around here. You know, these stories get around like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people went in trances in those days, eh?
But one time I was going to trance, I didn't know they thought there wasn't that, but there wasn't. There might have been trance for 3-4 days before that. Some for a week before that come through.
Well, that happens, you know.
Yeah.
But the Corduroy Road woke her up, I know.
Corduroy Road woke her up, so the next time we want them to drive slow so you can wait.
Who was Thomas?
That was Uncle Thomas Monk.
Your Uncle Thomas Monk when you used to haul hay to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And get stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
Whereabouts was that?
So then we were from Parish Farm to right into Winnipeg.
Wouldn't that be where Joe Tate's mill was? John Tate's mill?
Yeah, there was somewhere down there, and right on the highway was the highway right now.
Yeah, well, there'd be no Parish Farm there then.
No.
That was old John Tate's mill.
I guess that's where Thomas was right next to, right south of the Parish Farm.
Your uncle?
Yes. That's where we saw all here.
To Winnipeg? And the mud was...
Mud, you'd be hung up on the damn road, and you'd have to put on 2 team and maybe go for a quarter of a mile and get on good going and then go back and get the other load and get up on and go to get the next spot and be hung up again.
There was a little chat I had with an old gentleman named Oliver Monkman, who had been through a lot of the early experiences that most all the people living around here did in those days. He's 4 years old, and he's seen quite a bit of activities around the Selkirk and Winnipeg district. The last item on his tape here, he was discussing his uncle going to Winnipeg with a load of hay, and he got bogged down in the mud right where the parish farms are on the Highway 9 there, just near the old Fusha house. And he had to double up. When they say double up, they mean they put 2 teams on and pull the wagon out again, throw half the hay off and pull it out, and then put the hay on, turn around and go back again and pull the hay on again. And that's the way they went to Winnipeg. When they got there, they sold it for a song almost, less than $2 a ton sometimes. And the most they ever got for it was about $2.70. And they would have to stand all day at the market next to the City Hall on Main Street waiting for the somebody to come and buy it from them just before dark, so they'd have to sell it a little cheaper to get home. And on another tape, a man named Frank Philpott discussed the time he ate his meals in a place called the Ram Pasture, and this Mr. Monkman, that's where he used to eat too, in the same place. When I asked him about it, if he knew where the Ram Pasture was, he remembered going there to eat as well. This is 1970, the year 1972, when I was talking to Mr. Monkman. I'm recording these big tapes onto a little cassette here for the Parks Canada, and they want to put them away in the library. And my name is Frank Walters, and I'm sitting in a little cabin I have in my place here in 1975, talking to this tape. Gives me more kick out of it than listening to a television, as compared with something I'm doing myself instead of somebody else doing it for me. I'm 76 years old and came to Canada in 1904 into Winnipeg, and I haven't missed a winter here since that time, except for 2 months in Vancouver during the early part of the one winter.
Talking about a wagon, a Red River car going out west on a long trip, and the mother died when she gave birth to a baby, and the man fed it on the mare's milk because she had a colt running with it.
One man there, he was traveling out. They used to take those long trips, old people long ago. And this fellow was traveling out, and his wife died.
You mean after Buffalo or something on a long trip?
No, they used to travel. I don't know what they used to travel. Have to go for things like that. I don't know what it used to. I could never get the rest of it. What had done that for, And this fellow was out traveling out, and I used to saddle the car, the old heads of a cart, and a horse. And he was out, and his wife was confined while he was out traveling, And she died. She died while he was out traveling, and she left a little baby with him. And he looked after his wife too, when they were out on the trip like that. And mind you, and this mare that he had hit in the cart, she had a colt at the time. She was milking. And mind you, that's where they brought this baby up with that milk, with that mare's milk.
Oh?
Yeah, the young baby.
That'll make them strong, eh?
Yes, that was before he could get back again up from his trip,
I asked her if they ever had any bed bugs in the house or any trouble with bed bugs, and just how they cured them.
Did you have any trouble with them?
No?
I mean, how did you kill those bugs?
Oh, old Mr. Madrid lived on the trouble we had one time. Oh, the bugs was terrible after Mo being here. And Mr. Madrid, he gave Alec a name of a powder, and he told him to go in Beluli's drugstore, and he'd get the powder there. So Alex went in and he got it, and he says to him, clear your room out properly, he says. Don't leave a thing in it, he says. And take everything out, he says. And he says, put the bug poison along the wall, he says, the edge of the wall. And Alex Daniel killed himself, with that powder. All at once, he used, that package, I don't know how big that package was, but he used every bit of it in this room. Mr. Medill told him to only use half of it, and he, all at once, I was sitting out in the back of the house here on that couch I used to have there. All at once he come out, he come round that way, and he dropped right on the grass there. And, good, I said, what's the matter, I said. And I said, I think you almost killed yourself, I said, with that powder. So it was a while before he could tell me and talk to me, And that's what he done. Sitting here, killed himself with that powder.
Well, long before that, when you were a girl, did they have them too? Around?
Yeah, I never...
Wasn't too many then, eh?
No, I never had very many when especially after I married. Oh, we had no bugs at all. It's after we come down here that we had them. Wherever they come from, I don't know.
People bring them on a visit.
Oh, yes, I guess so. I guess that's what Mrs. Madera told me, She says, people come and visit and she says, and so putting their clothes down, she says, wherever they took it off, they come off. He says, and some of them might have had bugs on as clothes, she says, and left them here. That's how we brought them, she told me, So